So this is an interior tour of Mirounga Leonina, our 1997 Prout 45 catamaran, and I'm going to start by taking you in through the companionway door. So you come down and you step down in, slightly different design from some of the more modern catamarans, and this is the saloon. As you can see, it's enormous. We've got a lot of storage in here. A dining table will seat 6 people comfortably. All of these benches have got lockers in. There's storage here inside the middle of the table. We've got a bank of cupboards there which varyingly hold kind of open cupboard space, drawers and wine racks. And plenty of space on top of here. This is all cherry wood, I believe. We've got the light here which is operated from the 12-volt supply. And over here is the chart table. As with most chart tables, there is plenty of storage in there. Interior instruments, and our instrument panel here. Pretty much everything is controlled from here. I'm going to turn that off. You see we've got an extra 12-volt fan sitting there, but we've got a fan up there, and we've got another fan up here. And that's also where our water maker controls are and our inverter controls. So now I will take you down into the port side hull. It's down 3 steps, and this is the owner's layout. So this is our owner's master cabin. As you can see, it is massive. This bed is slightly larger than a UK double, or I believe in the US it's referred to as a full. It's around 57 inches wide and 82 inches long, so that's almost as long as a California King. So great if you're tall. Plenty of ventilation. We use a sunshade there just to try and block things out. There's an additional sunshade that comes out over that hatch. We've added a fan. We didn't have those when we moved on board. That is invaluable. And 12-volt charging. There is storage here and a mirror inside the vanity, and then again lots of storage cupboards. 2 of these are shelved and 1 is cupboards, drawers, and storage along the top. This wardrobe is very deep and actually has additional shelf space at the back of it, which is really handy. Full length mirror. And then out here you come into the portside hull, we refer to this as, and we have got our fridge. This is using a condensing plate, and we mostly use this for storing drinks. We've got our fresh water bottles hidden in there. Those covers slide over, so we just cover it all over, and that helps to keep everything nice and cold. More storage along here. We use that for food, and again we've got 2 large storage cupboards here. This one here at the front has got a wardrobe rail in it. We use that. We use the laundry bin in there because we actually don't need that much hanging space. And this second one here we use as our tool cupboard, and it's really nice not having to have an entire cabin given over to tools. Loads more cupboard and drawer space here, really convenient. Space for appliances and things like that as well, which is really useful. And then we come into the owner's heads, which the surveyor who surveyed our boat when we bought it said was a massive waste of space because it's huge, but we love that. And you know, when you're a couple living on board, it's really nice to have this kind of space. So classic sink and the loo. There is a shelf which goes over the heads, which we've kept stored. We just felt it wasn't necessary because it's not going to get showered on. That's a manual heads, very common Jabsco mechanism. We considered using the electric conversion kit, but we decided it wasn't really worth the effort. It's a saltwater feed, straight out, really simple. There are holding tanks on the boat. We have never used them. It's not required in the Caribbean. And again, we think there's, you know, the less things that you've got going on with it, the less there is to go wrong. Again, plenty of space here. And then this is one of the things that our friends are quite jealous of when they come on board from their other boats, is a rather large shower. So we've got a water maker, which means that we can shower freely. There's none of this holding a handle and pressing a button situation. So hot water on board is provided by running the engines. If we've been sailing or out on the boat and we've been running the engines, that's great, we've got hot water. If not, a 5-minute run on the engines gives us enough for showers. We've also got a gulper pump there. And in here you'll see there's a hatch which goes through into a watertight compartment, and that's where you can store things like spare sails, etc. There's another one in the other hull, and that is the owner's head. And we're just going to come back through here, through the porthole, up the steps. As you can see, it's all very open, which gives it a really great feeling of space. And then we've got on here, I've just left one closed. We've got blinds across these windows. We typically keep them closed because we're in the Caribbean, it's hot, and it allows some shade. There are 6 hatches in the saloon. The ones that have got sunscreens like this we keep closed for the shade as well. Some of them work and some of them don't because they are quite old. I'm going to come through into the guest accommodations. Now, you step through the guest heads. Underneath there is your heads. That's got the shelf on because this does have a working shower, has a working gulper, but at the moment, because we don't have guests on board and it's just us, we're using it as our laundry room. So that is a portable washing machine that we just sit up there. It's really convenient because we can get power through from the cabin. We can pull out the hose, shower, and we can drain straight into the sink. But if you were using it for guests, you can mount that shower head up on the door and use it normally. Now this bed isn't made up because I wanted to show you. This is one of the ways that you can access the engine bay. You can also access them from deck. That's where the light's coming from. And that's just a demonstration of it. But the bed is the same size as the bed in the master cabin, roughly just over the size of a double bed. And then you've got the same kind of storage and mirror in the vanity unit, more shelf space, and another large wardrobe. So that gives you an idea of that. We've had a few guests on board and they've all said it's been absolutely fine. That's including guests who are around 6'2", and there's been no problems with height, there's been no problems with the beds being too short, which is wonderful. I'll show you the galley now. We come in and we have our fridge and our oven, which is a gas oven, obviously, being on a boat. I'll just note that in the steps on either side we've got the water pumps. So there's one for port side and starboard side. And then galley has lots of storage, plenty of cupboard space. Some friends have pointed out that they feel like it's a house galley. Bin lives in there. This is an ice maker. We don't use that on a day-to-day basis because the fridge keeps everything really cool, but it's great for parties. That's an air fryer, which we use when we run the inverter. Quite decadent for a boat, but we love it. Here you've got your pipe switches for your gas supply, 4 burners, and then we've got a triple sink effectively. We like to save space by using this. On the sink you've got a foot pumped salt water tap, which is great. It means you don't need to waste your fresh water when you're washing up, you just do your rinse and fresh. And then here I'll just show you great water pressure. And on this particular tap we've installed a filter which hides underneath the cupboard interiors and allows us to give an extra filtration to the water and keep everything really fresh. And then on the other side of the galley we have got what we refer to as a fore cabin, it's the starboard fore cabin. Right now we're using this for a lot of storage because we rarely have guests use this, and we're slightly food hoarders, to be honest. So we went to the market and bought a lot of food. But you've got here, this is the width of a double bed, and it's around 78 79 inches long, so it's the normal length of a double bed, and it's a really good one actually for sleeping in on passages when you've got the engine on, because you're as far away from the engine noise as possible. You can see there we've got access to another watertight compartment. Again, there's a fan in here, and we've got storage shelves there which we use as our pantry effectively. And then access, this is the one that's hard to explain to people, there's a little step, then you come up, and this is what we call the cross cabin. These curtains here you see lead through into the saloon. The original setup when we came on board was for plexiglass windows to be in there that slid. We felt the curtains would offer somebody a bit more privacy if they were in here, and offer a bit more privacy to the fore cabin, but you could come up with alternative solutions. The runners are still there. This is again a double-sized bed, usable. It doesn't at present have a fan in there, but we've got a spare one that we haven't installed which could be used there. And there's a hatch at the end which could be opened, which kind of goes through to the chart table. I think a lot of people would have used this as their kind of crossing cabin if they were in a situation where they use this as kind of like a jump-off cabin, I think. But as you can see, for us with only 2 people on board, it's great storage. And that pretty much covers the interior. Just want to point out that I mentioned the water maker panel. We installed that in 2021. It's an Ecotech water maker, runs off the solar. Basically it's AC, 12 volts, so that means not having a generator and things like that. We don't use a generator, we don't have air conditioning, we are using fans. That keeps us perfectly cool, and we're also using breeze boosters out these hatches, which I'll show you on an exterior tour. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gives you a bit of a better idea of what Mirounga is like inside.